Yo, what's up? Welcome to whatever the hell this ends up being. Really, I just wanted to kind of start like a founder radio station, if you will, where I just wanted to come on and talk about my, business journey, stories and lessons I've learned along the way, and just like have fun with it. I didn't want to give myself too much boundaries, like I always do, and yeah, just get on and just have fun with content and start conversations and lead into something really cool. And that's kind of where I want to start today, actually, is that fact, is that as founders, when we kind of come up with a new idea, we start to just put pressure on ourselves to make it something more than what the seed of the idea actually was. You know, like in the beginning with this, I was like, I want to get on and start creating content around business, my lessons I've learned over the years, interview other founders, etc. But then my mind starts just building it into something much, much larger. And I start putting more pressure on myself of like, it needs to be this level of quality. And then it needs to, incorporate these segments and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I wasn't recording because of it. I was kicking the can down the road because I put so much pressure on myself to make it something instead of just showing up and having fun. I also didn't feel as though I could start this until I like formalized it into something, meaning I needed to like give it a brand name. You know, maybe this is going to be a podcast. Maybe this never sees the light of day. Who knows? By the way, this is Stark, my cat down here. He wanted to join today and probably will be part of many of the videos, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't want to start too until I like had a name for it. I felt like if you put a name on it, it gives it a personality, it gives it direction, which largely, yes, that's true. It does help because the brand name kind of solidifies what it is. It makes it official and you feel more excited about it. But I think as founders, we put way too much energy into choosing a name for whatever project we're working on. And then that ends up consuming us and we focus more on what is the name of the thing we're building instead of actually building the thing or thinking about, what should the thing do? How should it actually solve a problem? Who is our intended audience? And like these are the foundational questions we should make sure that we have in place first, or those are the things that should keep us up at night for us to be thinking about. But instead, we go to more of like the shiny object thing, the more fun thing for us to think about, which is the name of the thing. And so, yeah, I don't actually have a name for this yet. As we go along, maybe that'll be kind of a build in public thing. What the hell is this thing called? But cool, let's jump into it. Today, I want to start off with some story time. I think I really fucked myself by always being in a startup and never being in a traditional corporate job. To give you the full backstory, all right, I was in college and my junior year summer, we needed to get an internship. So I got an internship at this online company. It dealt with helping you manage your online reputation and all that kind of stuff. And it was a crash course into marketing and online advertising and all that kind of stuff. But also what they did at this company was a lot of like direct response marketing. That's like putting up the diet pill landing pages. This is like back in 2011. So, putting up diet pill pages, teeth whitener pages, all that kind of stuff, and running like hyperbolic ads to a very hyperbolic landing page that promised the world you'll lose 20 pounds in 10 days if you just take these acai pills and all that kind of stuff. And my boss, the person that I had the internship with, was like very much into advertorials and headlines and how to like manipulate people using headlines and the buyer psychology and marketing psychology and all that kind of stuff. And it was such a cool crash course on all of that. And I felt like I was like getting ahead in this like online marketing space. Anyway, cut to, I graduate college and I joined this startup right out of college. So, 2008 was like the big bust and the job market was shitty for the next like 5 or 7 years. And luckily I just had this startup that I just jumped right into. So I was feeling great. And I was doing marketing and advertising and like a little bit of like development work and things that I loved. But I was part of this startup, which was like growing quickly, but it was this idea that startup culture and everything's a bit, learn as you go and, hold things together with duct tape and bubble gum in order to like scale to the next level and all that stuff. And learned so much at a young age in terms of, raising capital and what it takes to build out departments and all that kind of stuff. So I don't regret any of that. But a lot of that process between that startup and then a startup that I went to after that one kind of went hockey sticked up and then quickly fell, went on to a spin-up startup that or spin-off startup that also too it was funded, but like it was a small raggedy team and it was still like a learn on the fly, figure it out as you go type thing. And then I got the entrepreneurial itch, started my own business back in 2016. And then ever since then, I've been building my own businesses. And I wouldn't have traded any of that for the world. But I do feel like I missed out on a lot of business foundational skills that, disciplines, if you will, like business disciplines, marketing disciplines that I never was able to learn had I been under like the whatever word I'm trying to say, insert it there. Tutelage, under the tutelage of like a veteran middle manager, marketing manager who's like, hey, here's how to figure these things out and here's the proper way to do things and all that kind of stuff. And I just saw what like a successful company that has been around for 20 plus years looked like. And I feel like a lot of great now successful business folk had that kind of start in corporate and then ventured out and was like, okay, these are the systems I need to have in place. And this is how you think about things. And this is what it means to really build $1 million business, $1 billion business. Just by only being a part of startups, I've like only known what it means to be scrappy and figure it out yourself and, not have a specific system in place for things or, move fast and break things, et cetera, et cetera. And I think like for better or worse, it allowed me to feel a confidence in like, I could figure it out. I know what I'm doing. I've had to build this thing myself many times. It's cool. But at the same time, you kind of just want that like foundational knowledge of like what it means to build what a successful business looks like from the inside, a multi-million-dollar business from the inside. And so it's not a regret, but it is something. I'm wondering if like anyone else has kind of gone through this similar path. If so, reach out. Because like as I get later into my career, it's more of like, oh, I've had to fail and learn and go read up on these things myself in order to find the kind of foundational knowledge for something versus kind of being taught it within a company, within a corporation that you kind of just learn through osmosis and, management kind of pushing it onto you, et cetera. So that's my story time. But yeah, let me know if anyone relates to that process because yeah, there's no kind of turning back now anyway. So no regrets. Next up, I want to take a little bit of a different approach here. Sorry, bud, you got to hop away for this one. And we're going to play a game. And this game is called Would You Rather Founder Hell Edition. And so what I've done is you'll see here, I trained an AI chat to give me would you rather scenarios that are correlated to the founder entrepreneur industry. And we're going to have a fun little game here where we'll just go through would you rather scenarios and see what we come up with. So first one off the bat, option A, would you rather spend the next year replying, love this, let's circle back to LinkedIn DMs from people who clearly did not read your profile? Or option B, take one intro call per week with a strategic partner who talks for 28 minutes straight and then asks if you can just send referrals. Okay. Yeah, so this is a tough one because both of these are my founder hell. The option A, spend the next, love this, let's circle back to a LinkedIn DM who hasn't read your profile. We're going to talk about this later, but the amount of cold LinkedIn requests I get and DMs I get from just absolute strangers who have no idea what I do and probably just DM'd me or requested me because of maybe a keyword in my profile or something that came up on whatever their like outreach platform is, oh my God, it's so frustrating. And sometimes people will reach out, like I still do, but not as much anymore. But I was focused more on like helping entrepreneurs with their personal brands, helping them create content, publish content, yada yada. And I would get requests on LinkedIn from people who did what I did and like clearly were trying to pitch me on their service. And I'm like, did you read my profile? Do you see what I do? Like that is what I do. Why are you DMing me? Why are you requesting me this? It's a waste of all of our times. Anyway, so that is my hell for sure. But take one intro call per week with a strategic partner who talks for 28 minutes straight and then asks if you can just send referrals. This one is annoying as well. I've had a lot of like, let's talk about how we can help each other grow. And then it's mainly like, hey, do you have any clients for me? That's kind of the undertone of the whole thing. But I don't knock it because it's, that's, if there's a two-way relationship there, like, hey, you do this, I do that. They kind of work hand in hand. We might have similar clients. I don't knock the hustle there. So I'm going to go with option A. Let's go A. Okay. And then I programmed the chat to have a little bit of like fun with the response based on what I say. So it says, of course you did, professional non-committal king. Your keyboard autocomplete just types sounds interesting on its own now. All right. That hurt a little bit. Non-committal kings. Someone has been reading my diary. Let's move on. Next one, would you rather go viral for a tweet you barely believe in, then spend 6 months pretending it represents your core philosophy, or ship genuinely great work that no one notices except 3 peers who say this is underrated and do nothing else? Ooh, okay. So basically, this is like getting at your core. Do you actually care about eyeballs? Or is that all you care about is getting eyeballs? Or even though it's not something you like truly believe in, or hustle hard, create amazing content, have deep philosophies people actually care about, but then like no one and only your peers see it and appreciate it. Definitely option B, because I come from the personal branding space and I know how hard it can be to I not only come from the personal branding space, I come from the online reputation space. And I know how hard it can be to reverse a reputation or a perception of you, which is your brand, what people think about you when you're not in the room. Um, Especially for something that you don't believe in. Now, it depends on like, obviously, what that core philosophy is. If it's like something super controversial that I'm like, oh shit, I don't want that associated with me at all. I don't know why I tweeted it in the first place, but yeah, either way, maybe it was something I went viral for. And this is actually something we talk about a lot with content creation is like, if you create a video that's like completely off topic of what you typically want to talk about, and that goes viral, now people are expecting you to post content about that thing. And maybe in that way too. So if you do like a hot take about like a sports player, but you typically really only talk about branding and personal branding and stuff like that, and then a bunch of people follow you because they think you're going to talk about hot takes of sports players, then you're not really growing and cultivating the right audience and such. So that's really important. And so yeah, I would, in my opinion, putting in the work and putting out great work, and even if it inspires, this is my new thing actually. I've come to the conclusion on is like, let's stop trying to focus on impacting 1 million people per day, because that puts so much pressure on us. As I said in the beginning of this episode, it like puts pressure on us to create something extraordinary day one. And if we don't impact 1 million people in a day, then we feel like we failed. Instead, let's just focus on impacting one person's life per day. And I know that this is like already some sort of quote or philosophy that's out there, like just focus on one person, whatever. But it really, if you really stop and think about it and like try to just focus on impacting one person who's like your ideal client or audience member, then you'll put less pressure on yourself to like perform or create something extraordinary, and you'll just show up for that one person. Anyway, so that I would go with B, because I know that even if I'm impacting those three peers per day, that's reaching my goal of one person per day. And also, great work doesn't go noticed forever. Eventually, people are going to catch on. So B. Yes, the purest form of pain, nourished by integrity, sustained by zero engagement. At least the three people are builders, right? All right. So we'll do one more option, or would you rather, Founder Hell Edition. Would you rather be stuck on a weekly mastermind call where everyone humble brags about revenue while secretly panicking about churn? Option B, pay $8,000 for a course that promises clarity only to realize it's your own thoughts rearranged into nicer slides. Uh, the second one is tough. I think we've all had buyer's remorse, even from like a $200 course that we purchased that was basically shit we've already heard either from that course creator on like their social media accounts, or things we've heard elsewhere, or things we've already learned ourselves, like we've come to the conclusion on. It's just like put into pretty slides, as this says. So that is really frustrating because that is just a waste of money. While the first one feels a bit like a waste of time, be stuck on a weekly mastermind call where everyone humble brags about their revenue while secretly panicking about churn. I think option A, because I don't know, even if at least I'd get some value out of it, because if people humble brag about their revenue, maybe you can find some inspiration in that, even if you know that they're like secretly, scared about churn and their monthly revenue. But yeah, at least you're making connection with peers. You're able to maybe talk about what you have going on too, and then you can get some advice that way. But yeah, that's something that we all need to stop, is just screenshotting our Stripe accounts and trying to sell people that way. But cool. All right. That is today's game. The Founder Hell, What Would You Do? Founder Hell Edition. So I want to get a little bit more personal here with this next segment, which is called Founder Journal Entry, which is me. I'm the founder, and this is my journal entry. And the reason I want to do that, bring it up, is because I write in this journal every day. It is my physical founder journal, and I'm kind of in this process of like figuring out what I want out of a journal. Specifically, I don't want it to be a diary. I want it to be more so something that helps guide me and towards an overall purpose, vision, goal, aspiration, whatever word you want to use there. And so every day I kind of write down what my purpose is, what I'm focused on that helps support that purpose, what things I have to do this month, this week, and today in order to move myself towards that. And then I write out a prompt. I kind of prompt myself with a question that helps kind of dig into my little founder heart here, and kind of pull out some of the things that are going on in my career and my founder journey that I want to just kind of double click on or examine a bit more. And I'm pretty self-aware, so I know what prompts to ask myself. And right now I'm going through like a really interesting transitional phase in my career where I didn't fully find fulfillment, happiness in the agency and agencies that I've built over the last couple of years, and found that I was really focused on it for money purposes and not necessarily like the outcomes that I'm providing my clients. And so now I'm really taking a step back and going, okay, why do I feel that way, and what do I want to do next with that? And so since I'm in this transitional period, I've been having all different types of feelings that haven't come up before. And so this prompt is asking myself, kind of looking in the mirror and asking myself why I'm feeling these certain feelings. And so what I'm going to do is just read you what the prompt is, and then I'll read you what my journal entry was. But then what I did was I went, as we all do these days, is when we need some clarity on things, is I went to ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, act as a business coach, act as like a business therapist." And I'm going to read you my journal entry today, and then I want you to kind of spit back what you are getting from that and what you see from that, and kind of just act as a founder therapist, and tell me what's going on here. So then after I read this entry, I'm going to read you what the ChatGPT wrote back to me. And the reason I'm doing that is because, one, I think a lot of founders are going to relate to what I'm going through right now. And I really liked what ChatGPT wrote back to me. And I got some good clarity out of it. So I want to send that to you as well. All right. So this is my founder journal entry for today, January 23rd, 2026. And my prompt to myself was, why aren't you as motivated or inspired anymore? And here's what I wrote. I paused the growth of my old agency Zenpost, so I don't have a project to put my inspired energy into. And I'm not seeing growth in anything, so I'm not getting my dopamine rush or feeling of achievement and pride in my abilities, which sparks more motivation. I also get hesitant to start something new because I'm jaded and exhausted by burning my energy on failed ideas. I lost confidence in myself that I can achieve above average results because I've never really sold the $1 million or $1 billion company before. My little side projects just all fizzled out. I want the next thing to be the thing, and I hesitate and second guess my next step until I'm sure that this thing is worth pursuing, which puts me in an emotional freeze without any inspiration or motivation. I don't want to get all excited about something until I know it will be successful. I've gotten super excited about projects in the past and then they fell apart. So I don't want to go through that again. And I think so many founders can relate to, I said a handful of things in here, but so many founders can relate to a lot of what I said in here about being a bit jaded by the business process, especially if you put a lot of your energy, get really excited about projects. We dive into a side project and then it fails or it fizzles out, or you find the next project that you want to focus on, or you find out that it's not a valid project, the validity of it's not going to work, people don't want it, whatever it is, and you fall out of love with it. And putting your energy and time and money and focus on these projects over and over again, only for them to fizzle out, or not work, or get put into the product graveyard, I think plays an emotional has an emotional effect on you over time, where you become a bit jaded by the idea of the next thing, and you don't want to go up to bat anymore because you've been swinging at all of these projects and companies and opportunities for so long, and they don't pan out. So it's like, why waste my energy and time on the next thing? And because of that, you may still have the energy or motivation, or you might be inspired to start the next thing, whatever that is. But now you're really hesitant to get emotionally connected to it and motivated in it and inspired through it until you have some semblance of the validity behind it and that it will be successful, right? Like, you've been hurt before. You don't want, it's like new love in your life. I'm not going to give you my full heart and emotional package here until I know that this is like a safe place for me to do so. And I'm kind of feeling that way within my career when it comes to like the next project I want to work on. And that's why I started this, starting to create content again, is because I don't want this isn't the thing, this isn't like, I'm not monetizing this, and it's nothing more than just starting conversation and hopefully saying some things that resonate with other founders, and we start conversation through that way. So I'm not putting pressure on myself for that. But when it comes to like the thing that I'm going to invest into, time, money, emotionally, etc., um, I'm hesitant. I want to make sure that I invest into the thing that I know will be successful, so that I feel comfortable and confident putting all of that time, money, and energy into it. So I'm sure a lot of founders can relate to that, and I hope so. Hopefully, I'm not the only one. If so, reach out, because would love to have conversations about it. And so the next thing, like I said, I then went on ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, here's my journal entry for the day. Can you act as a business coach, like a business therapist, if you will, and like tell me what's going on here." So I'm gonna skim through. We don't have to go through the full thing, but I want to hit some highlights as to what ChatGPT wrote back. And if you resonate with any of the things I just said, this is also speaking directly to you. So, reading from ChatGPT. First, I want to respect the honesty here. This isn't whining, it's awareness. You're not unmotivated. You're stuck in a protection pattern. That's different and it matters. ChatGPT always likes to reassure you at the beginning, and I love that, even though I know it's just a robot doing it. Here's what I hear as both a business coach and a therapist, right? What's really happening, not just what you're saying. One, your motivation system was wired to growth, not creation. It's Zen post, not Zen post, but gave you momentum loops: effort, progress, validation, dopamine, identity, reinforcement. When you paused it, you didn't just lose a project, you lost your feedback engine. Your nervous system is used to movement and measurable wins. Now there's silence, and silence feels like failure to an achiever brain. I want to stop and reflect on that for a second, because like that really hits the nail on the head. I think the idea is we tie our career, our founder identity to progress, right? We're building something, we're moving something forward. We see like a vision for a product or who we're trying to help, and we base our success on whether we've hit that next milestone, of whether we've launched the product, whether we've gotten a certain amount of users, certain amount of revenue, certain amount of people impacted, and we can like point to numbers and say, yeah, we've achieved that milestone, we've done that thing, and now here's the next milestone we're trying to achieve. And we put, again, our value and our pride in the progression of those numbers. And when there's no numbers in front of me or in front of you to say, hey, you're making movement and you're achieving things, you feel a bit like treading water, like you're not being valuable, you're being lazy, you're unproductive, and it kind of stirs up negative emotions that way. So it's very much like, it's hard to be inspired when there's no numbers in front of you, there's no milestones, there's no hurdles to get over, which is what us founders are mostly motivated by. Number two, you're not tired, you're disillusioned. This line matters. I'm jaded and exhausted by burning my energy on failed ideas. That's not fatigue, that's grief plus mistrust in your own judgment. You don't trust your excitement anymore because it's betrayed you before. Yeah, this is a big one, right? Like I said, I got jaded by putting energy into products, services, solutions, only for them to fizzle out or to like, for whatever reasons they didn't work. And over time you start to be like, well, maybe I'm not as great of a founder or entrepreneur as I thought, because I keep putting energy into things that I think are going to be amazing, and then they don't work out for whatever reason. And most of the time, let's be honest, most of the time things don't work out is because you're trying to build 18 different things at once, and or what I like to say is you're trying to build 10 different things at once, and you're giving 10% of your energy into 10 different things at once. So you can only be 10% successful with those 10 different things, right? And that could look, for you, it might look like, I'm trying to, obviously build my book of business, but I'm also starting the podcast, I'm also starting the newsletter and a community and this philanthropic project, but I'm also, personally trying to run a marathon this year, and we're having a baby in my family, whatever it is. Those are all things that you need to give your energy to, like, having a baby is a project in itself, and there's a lot of attention and energy and time and money you need to put into that. Or yeah, like a triathlon or marathon, whatever it is, that's physical energy, and that's also time away from your day to train and all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of times we just spread ourselves too thin, and that's where we don't have the time, money, energy to make a project successful. So that's a lesson I've learned over the last, maybe 5 or 6 years is like, if you really want to see success in one thing, you need to be able to put 100% of your energy into it for a certain amount of time to really get it off the ground before you can maybe start to take a back seat a little bit in the production of that thing or the management of that thing. All right. Number 3, you've attached worth to outcome scale, not trajectory. Quote, I've never sold $1 million or billion-dollar company isn't a fact, it's a measurement identity. Your brain now believes it's not just, if it's not objectively massive, then it's not meaningful, which means it's not safe to invest energy. So nothing feels worthy or commitment unless it's, no, not worthy of commitment unless it's guaranteed to be big. And yeah, I mean, that to me, that's kind of really hitting on the head as well. Just the idea that like, as founders, we always want to build something massive. Like we want to build the next Facebook, if you will, or whatever. And I, at times in the past in my career, I've like thought too small. And then at times I thought I was going to build the next Facebook, and just this kind of hesitation of like, well, if it's not going to be super successful, then why invest into it? But honestly, again, creating this content today and just starting my content journey, or restarting it really, but is trying to get that disillusion out of me of, this doesn't need to be something huge for it to be worthwhile to me and to other people. 0 people can watch this. Well, hopefully at least one person watches it and gets value from it for it to be worthwhile. There doesn't need to be 1 million views and all that kind of stuff. All right, a couple more. You're trying to eliminate risk instead of learning how to regulate it. This is the trap. Quote, I don't want to get excited until I know it will be successful. That's emotional risk management, not business strategy. It leads to freeze, not clarity. Your nervous system is trying to avoid disappointment, not pursue purpose. And I think that correlates very well into the previous one in the sense of like, I'm not doing things for the sake of like, will this help people at the end of the day? I'm doing it or I'm thinking I need to do something because it's going to be something much larger, or I don't want to waste my time doing it. But I think we need to think about effort in the sake of, will it help people? And will it, obviously it needs to make money, but there's, I think, a Venn diagram too. And this is like the ikigai thing where, does it help people? Does it make money? And are you actually passionate and fulfilled by it? And that's kind of what the next thing should be. But once you kind of identify that thing, I don't think we should put limitations on it or expectations on it of the idea that like it needs to be this next Facebook for us to start it. If it is really worth pursuing, I think we should be okay with pursuing it as long as it aligns with those other things. Like it really is useful to an audience. It's something you actually care about, and it can make you money, because at the end of the day, we still need to pay our bills, right? Last one. You're stuck between 2 identities: old identity, builder, operator, momentum guy, growth energy. New identity, architect, strategist, long-term thinker, systems builder. And the transition space feels like emptiness, not evolution. This is an identity gap, not a motivation problem. Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of lost my old identity because I'm not currently working on like a product or offer. I have things I'm thinking about, but I'm a builder, right? We're founders, we're builders. We build things. And since I don't have that in front of me right now, I've lost my identity around being able to like sink value into a product or offer. So yeah, I'm kind of finding a new outlet for that right now, which is content. But real quick, I want to just quickly go through some advice that the AI lords have given us. Reframe. This is important. You're not unmotivated. You're in a collapse between certainty and meaning. You want certainty before commitment, but certainty only comes after commitment. So you freeze. This is psychologically clean, not broken. The core pattern, you've replaced curiosity with outcome obsession. You've replaced play with pressure. You've replaced building with proving, and then that kills inspiration over time. So waiting for the thing to feel worthy before acting is a guaranteed way to stagnate. Every meaningful venture in history started as unproven, unclear, and inefficient. Your standard of worth pursuing is now unrealistically high because it's built on fear, not vision. You're trying to protect yourself from disappointment instead of building tolerance for uncertainty again. The therapist truth here, your system is trying to avoid emotional pain, not business failure. The fear isn't this won't work. The fear is I'll feel stupid, disappointed, and depleted again. So your nervous system chooses numbness or hope. The real problem statement, I don't trust myself to choose well anymore, so I avoid choosing at all. And that's a mic drop moment. I think that is very much true. And so it gave me another journaling prompt. If I was trying to guarantee, if I wasn't trying to guarantee success, what would I build just to feel alive, curious, and engaged again? And I, wrote towards that. So I kind of put that to you. If this resonated with you, if you're going through a similar process where you just feel kind of in stagnation, in entrepreneurial freeze right now, whatever, kind of your journaling prompt I would give you, if I wasn't trying to guarantee success, what would I build just to feel alive, curious, and engaged again? And I did that and found some really good, feedback to myself on it. All right. Now, that was a little bit of a deeper, introspective, serious point. So let's jump into something a little more fun. We are going to do something called Annoying Things Founders Do That I'm Banning for 2026. That's right. I'm coming for y'all. These are the list of 5 things that I absolutely fucking hate that just as a founder, I think we all can agree on, or at least the people who receive these things or see these things from the outside will agree on it. The people who actually do them probably won't. Or you know what? I think even some of the people who do them will probably agree that they fucking hate it, but they still do it anyway. So again, annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026. The first one is cold emails. Stop sending cold emails. I don't care about the business I've never heard about. You are are you really sending out 5,000 emails to people in hopes that you're getting 30 of them that are right place, right time, right emotion, right care about what you're doing? I just the amount of spam emails that I get every day that I have to report spam. I'm reporting all these cold emails as spam, by the way, especially if you email me. Sometimes I'll give it grace. Like if you send the one cold email, I'm just like, all right, delete. And then if you reply the next week being like, hey, circling back on this cold email that doesn't correlate to anything that you would need, but I'm still circling back, and this is just my automated email system circling back, then I'm reporting spam. Sorry, but you're getting a spam flag, and hopefully that prevents you from sending out these shitty cold emails moving forward. So yeah, cold emails, I get 15 of them per day. The amount of question for Dave subject lines that I get, I created a filter in my Gmail for any email that has the subject line, within the subject line, it says question for Dave, automatically gets filtered into this label that I have, this sub whatever. And it skips my inbox and that thing fills up every week because so many people have questions for Dave, apparently. I don't care what the question is. I'm not replying. I'm not looking at your email. If you want to get a hold of me, send me, a carrier pigeon or something. All right. Annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026. Number 2, AI avatars. Guys, what the fuck are we doing? I'm seeing all these posts on Instagram where it's just you're creating the AI avatar using 11 Labs and whatever AI avatar. These are the AI talking head avatars that make it look like you're a human, you're actually you, and then it dubs over your voice. And then people are just using that to scale up the content that they're creating. And it's all right, if that's what you're doing, make that the thing for your account. Like, let us know, like, make it obvious, guys. I'm just doing AI avatar videos, and I have good information, but I'm just not gonna record it myself. And like, I get it. There's some value in the sense of like reporting news quickly or whatever, but like, really, it's just news stuff. Like, if you want to record, get news out there quickly, and you want to make sure like you're hitting exact talking points and all that kind of stuff, script it out and have an AI avatar present it. Cool, but like, tell us that in your video or your profile that this is like an AI avatar account. I'm sick and tired of seeing these things. Like, you know that it's an AI avatar, and it makes me feel disconnected from you and your account. Like, if you're trying to build a personal brand, but all I'm seeing is an AI avatar, it makes it feel like you're trying to separate yourself from your audience, or that you're too lazy to create content. And like, anyway, so AI avatars banned for 2026 and beyond. Okay, annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026. Number 3, cold LinkedIn requests. Cold emails, get the fuck out of here. Cold LinkedIn requests, also get the fuck out of here. Again, I mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, whatever we're calling this, that people will reach out to me on LinkedIn without even like looking at my profile and seeing what I do, and then try to pitch me on the same service that I do. Just, it baffles my mind. Also, yeah, these whole like, hey, I'm just trying to connect with like-minded founders and grow my network or whatever. And then you connect, and then they start pitching you on their service. Or even like, also what grinds my gears is when people, like, I used to be more active on LinkedIn, and so I post a lot of content, and then I would get a lot of inbound LinkedIn requests. And then so we would connect, and then I would reach out and be like, hey, cool, like, did you reach out because you were interested in a piece of content I published, or like the services that I have, or whatnot? And they'd be like, no, just expanding my network. What does that mean? What do you mean you're expanding your network? Like, are you in a race to get as many friends as possible? Like, do you have a bet with your buddy to see how many like connections you can get on LinkedIn, and that's why you're expanding it? What does expanding your network mean? Like, what are you expanding it for? Why are you connecting with the person? Like, just think logically. You clicked the request button. That took time and energy out of your day to do. Why did you do it? What are you trying to get out of it? I don't understand expanding your network. Like, if that to me says they're not connecting with you because they want something from you. It's that if you connect with someone, you automatically start following them. And then if they post content, they're hoping you'll see it or something. I just don't get it. Can we just make, this is like a sub bullet of cold LinkedIn requests. Can we make the new rule that if you connect with someone on LinkedIn, it's because you want an exchange of value, an equal exchange of value, or it's because you find them valuable and you want to be closer to them digitally, so that you can follow their content, so you can engage with their content, you can DM them and try to like learn more from them. But I don't understand why people are connecting with other people if it's not for an at least equal exchange of value. It just baffles my mind. All right. Annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026. Number 4 is having me on your podcast just to pitch me your service. I don't have time for that. I don't care for that. I don't want to be on your podcast to be pitched something. This is a whole wave of things that are going on right now. I'm going to be straight up with you. For a time, I kind of was doing this. I have a podcast. It was called Personal Brand Blueprint. I'd have people on, and we'd have like genuine conversation, like valuable conversation. And then at the end of it, I would kind of imply like, hey, by the way, this is a similar service that I provide clients, but I wouldn't like hard pitch them on it. And it wasn't the only reason I had them on. We had great conversations. I met really great people. There are some podcasts where the only reason for the podcast is to get clients, and then the actual episodes themselves are trash. Like, I actually went on, okay, so this is a great story. I got DM'd by someone who works at a very popular entrepreneur growth agency growth company that a lot of people would know. And a representative from that company reached out to me and was like, "Hey, checked out your profile. Think you'd be really great to be on our podcast. Are you down?" And I've gotten those pitches before, and I was very, very hesitant. So I was like, "Hey, would be interested if it's genuinely going to be a conversation where we're talking about business advice and it's just like an actual podcast episode, and I'm not being pitched on anything. Like I don't want it to be." And what I say is, I don't want a interview disguised as a podcast episode. I don't want a sales call disguised as a podcast episode. And the person reassured me, no, we don't do that. It's like genuine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, because I really don't want to waste my time hopping on a sales pitch that's disguised as a podcast episode. No, we don't do that. I get on the sales pitch essentially, and the person is like leading me through questions that are 100% me being like evaluated, my needs analysis stage, where they would ask me questions about like, what are you trying, how are you trying to grow in the next year? What if you got $1 million right now, what would you invest it into in order to grow your business? And is, growing your business really important? And like, it started out with questions about myself and then went into basically like, are you looking for ways to grow your business, and do you need support? And like, what are those ways that you are trying to grow your business? And I knew while we were having the conversation that I was being pitched, or it was a sales call essentially. And towards the end of it, they asked me questions and I just gave like super, super short answers because I was so I should have just walked out of the freaking podcast room, which was just like a Zoom call or whatever. But I knew it. And then afterwards, I kind of like pressed the person to be like, so yeah, like how's things going? Like whatever, like, do a lot of people end up getting interested in your guys' services after these calls? And just kind of like subtweeted, like, I know what the fuck this was. Like, don't waste my time. And I was like, yeah, I really hate it when people have podcasts that are really just sales calls, because like I never want to opt into what they're doing. And then and the guy was like, yeah, definitely. So anyway, yeah, I mean, you did talk about a lot of things that you would like to see happen in this year, and we do provide services like that. And I'm like, I know you fucking do. I know what this is. So yeah, annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026 is stop having people on your podcast strictly to have a mini sales call and then try to book them. Have a podcast that's valuable first and foremost, and as a byproduct, if you get clients that way because you establish a relationship, cool, but it can't be like the only purpose for your podcast. We have enough podcasts in the world. We don't need another sales call podcast. And last but not least, drum roll please, annoying things founders do that I'm banning for 2026 is inviting me to your webinar. Don't invite me to your podcast if it's going to be a sales call. And also don't invite me to your webinar. I don't want to go to webinars anymore. I think the webinar thing is done. I know there's probably a lot of people out there going to be like, no, I do webinars all the time. I get so many clients from it, blah, 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 blah. That's going to start to be fading out. No one, because everyone knows what a webinar is. First of all, every webinar I've ever been to gives me like, similar to what we talked about before about like the would you rather, and the scenario was go buy an $8,000 course and learn all the things that you already know. Same thing with your webinar. You're not saying anything that people don't already know. Most like founders who've been around for long enough know the tactics you're talking about. Like they're already familiar with it. They know they should be doing it. They don't need a 60-minute webinar on the process. And we also don't need, I know why we do this, but like we don't need 45 minutes of your backstory, of pictures of you going through the hustle and you with your wife or you with your husband and the hard times you guys went through, and then you had your kid, and then you were struggling with the business, and then what, like the like, I'm sorry, like the sob story or like the inspirational hero's journey story that you went through for the first 30 minutes to give you the backstory of like, trust me, feel more connected to me. And then I'm going to pitch you on like how to be successful. Like, I don't want to, like, I came on here to learn XYZ. I didn't come on here to like learn about your full biography. So you're wasting my time in that sense. And then we get to the thing, and it's something I already know. I like it, or something I could have chat GPT'd. Like, that's why I think webinars are going away. Is like, I can learn these things myself. And yeah, if you're a coach or consultant, really like showing up with content just to be like, hey, I exist, and you would probably vibe well with me, and you probably vibe well with, just my personality, because vibe is really important when it comes to a coach or consultant. That's how you're going to win clients, not your next webinar. But I don't know. Maybe you guys are out there and you're crushing it with webinars, and I'll take my foot out of my mouth. But I'll tell you what, I'm not showing up to your webinar. So stop inviting me. All right, cool. That is whatever the fuck this is. And that may end up being what this whole thing is called, whatever the fuck this is. But otherwise, hopefully this was valuable. I enjoyed it. And actually, like, that was one of my main goals for this whole thing is I think we don't create content as founders because it's homework. It feels like homework, and it feels stuffy, and we feel like, I don't want to like do this talking head video where it's like 3 reasons to listen to me. We want to have fun with our content. We want to show up authentically, and we want it to be play. And so that's one of the biggest things for me is like, I want this to feel like play. And yeah, this is very different than any type of content I've created before. And I actually enjoyed doing it, and I want to do it again. And so it's kind of like the metaphor of when you show up to the gym, do things that you at first like, do some things that you enjoy doing, you're familiar with, so that you will want to come back. And then over time, you can kind of work your way up. Actually, I don't think that metaphor really worked at all. I don't think people even say that. So I don't know where I got that from. But in any case, this concept of having fun with the content is working for me. So, think about that for yourself as well. If you're kind of weary of creating content, start with something that's really fun to do. A game, maybe like respond to someone's question in like a fun way, whatever. Just make it fun for yourself, because it's important to show up with content as a founder, but I know it can feel daunting and stuffy to do. And I don't know, we'll talk about this whole concept probably in a different whatever the fuck this is episode. But yeah, appreciate you spending time with me in the meantime. And yeah, see you on the next one of whatever this is.